I'm Handy Haley's husband, and today I want to talk to you about outdoor Dutch ovens. I got two examples today. We're going to be cooking a pork roast for my father-in-law, Fred. He is not a vegetarian, but we are, so we wanted to take this opportunity to explain to you how these outdoor Dutch ovens work, the tools that we use to cook with, and our personal preferences as to how to handle it. So here we have two examples. The one we're going to be using today is aluminum, which personally we wouldn't use because aluminum isn't generally that safe to cook with. We have a cast iron outdoor Dutch oven on the other side here, and that is what we would choose. The cast iron is a lot safer to cook with. It's been used for hundreds of years to cook with. It's much more trusted. The aluminum is a cheaper option, generally for low maintenance, short-term use, and we have a tendency to have to clean up. So we're going to use the aluminum. Fred doesn't mind, and we're going to show you what he's got cooking in here. So we got these two tools here. This is what came with the Dutch ovens, and we don't generally like to use these because you would have to use some type of a hand protection for the heat, and this is how it clamps onto the lid, and you can also use this handy little hook on the bottom of it, but we prefer to use your hammer, your everyday claw hammer, and this way you don't generally need protection from the heat. You can just use the claw itself to grab the lid, and we can show inside there. We got Fred's roast, and he's got half a beer in there for the moisture. He's got a couple of farm fresh vegetables in there, some tomatoes I see, and some mushrooms. So we're going to put that lid back on there, and then over here we've got the coals in our fluid-free starter here. That these are ready to go, and it doesn't take very many for these Dutch ovens, and a majority of these coals are going to be on the top. So what we're going to do here is we're going to spread a little bit of coals, maybe about a quarter of these that we got in here, onto this foil. Now make sure you steer clear, and you use caution anytime you're dealing with fire. Now I didn't show this in part of the video, but I went ahead and I moistened the grass. I went around with a pitcher of water, and I moistened the grass around here just to keep from the fire spreading. We also have a hose that's ready within 5 feet. That's turned on with a sprayer nozzle. Now, like I said, we're going to use the majority of the coals on the top. And what this is going to do is it's going to cause a pressured reaction with the heat mixing with the moisture on the inside, and it's going to cause a vacuum seal. Again, use caution. You might want to try some protective gear. I'm kind of a rebel when it comes to this, so here we go. We're going to sprinkle a couple more coals. I recommend about 20 coals here. Make sure they're good and hot and ready to go. Like I said, it doesn't take many. Maybe a couple more. And pretty soon, I'd say maybe about an hour or so, we're going to check out what we got going on in here. It's another reason we have the claw hammer, is so that we can break the vacuum seal, the pressure that builds up after it cooks for 45 minutes to an hour, so we can check on it. You just use the claw hammer to bang on the side. But again, we're gonna let this sit, and we're gonna be back here in a little bit. So stay handy, friends. See you in a bit.
Go.
Hey there again. So, I already came and checked this once, but I thought it needed just a little more liquid and just a little more time. Pork, you have to be very sure is cooked thoroughly, and I brought a thermometer just to make sure. So, we're going to use our tool of preference, which is the everyday claw hammer. We're going to give it a couple taps on each side. And before we do that, we're going to make sure that there's no ash around the rim. We don't want that to blow into our food. So we're going to give it a couple taps here. I already made sure there's no ash around the rim. Looks good and clean. I'm going to be very careful when lifting it. And that looks just so amazing. Very appetizing. If I ate meat, I would sit down with Fred and have a slice of this. No problem. So we're going to find the centermost point of the pork roast to make sure that it is cooked thoroughly. Now pork, you want it at least 145 degrees, and it is shooting way past 150. So we're going to call this good. I'm going to take that out of there. Go ahead and set the lid back on. And I'm going to quickly remove this and get this ready for Fred for some good eating. And I appreciate you guys joining with us. And make sure, if you like what you see, click that thumbs up and subscribe, okay? Because we got plenty more videos just like this with handy uses for everyday things. And we're going to share our knowledge as we learn in our homesteading journey together. So stay handy, friends.